Hold on. Simply thinking about sex can increase your analytical thinking. Simply thinking about sex can increase your analytical thinking.
Perfect.
Is this why men are more analytical than females?
You're welcome, you're welcome. Here's another glimpse in the life of Mr. Seldom. On a mission to heaven so he can tell me well done. He got all my secrets, he promised he never tell none. You're welcome, there's no other feeling like it.
What's good, everyone? It's Jamal Haki, channel dedicated to doing reactions and reviews over here. So without further ado, we got a nice reaction for you. We're going to be reacting to, I do believe this is a video from Psych to Go. I love doing reaction videos from videos on their channel. And today's video is going to be about how sex affects your mental health. Now, I don't know which channel this is going to go on, but I think I'm just going to put this on the reaction, right? The reaction channel. Keep it nice and simple.
Nope.
So how sex affects your mental health, right? Let's go ahead and dive into it because I have some questions, and we could definitely dive into it as we're watching the video. If there's anything that I need to add, we can do that while we're watching the video, okay? So without further ado, let's get it.
Psych-to-goers, Hey Psych-to-goers, how much do you know about sex? Whether you know a lot or not much, there are quite a lot of interesting things sex can do to our minds and bodies that you might not know. What are these things, you may ask? Well, here are 6 things sex does to your mind and body. Number 1, sex may help increase your cognitive capacity. According to a study published in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin, simply thinking about a sexual encounter may enhance analytical thinking. The study states that
Hold on. Simply thinking about sex can increase your analytical thinking. Simply thinking about sex can increase your analytical thinking.
Perfect.
Is this why men are more analytical than females?
Maybe.
I don't know. I may be on to something.
it suggests that when in love, people typically focus on a long-term perspective, which should enhance holistic thinking and thereby create thought. Whereas when experiencing sexual encounters, they focus on the present and on concrete details, enhancing analytic thinking. Because people automatically activate these processing styles when in love or when they experience sex, subtle or even unconscious reminders of love versus sex should suffice to change processing modes. Another 2010 study published in the PLOS-1 using rats found that sexually active rodents had more neurons in the part of their brain called the hippocampus when compared to virgin rats. This part of the brain
So they saying virgins is stupid. Hold on, man.
What do you mean by that?
You know, there's a study that just came out that said men from ages 18 to 30, about 1/3 of them people are virgins.
I beg your pardon?
has an important role in memory and learning. Researchers noticed that when sexual activity later stopped among rodents, they lost those advancements in brain power. Number 2, sex may boost self-esteem. Everyone's different, but
pretty
according
obvious.
to
Pretty
psychologists,
obvious. Pretty
sex may
obvious.
aid in boosting your self-esteem.
Okay.
Psychologist Ryan Anderson explained in Psychology Today that lack of sex can lead to feelings of angst, self-doubt, and inadequacy. And there is strong evidence that
Hence why there's a culture of, or a population of incels. But the people who ain't getting play, the people who not having access to sex like that, right? Inadequacy, low self-esteem. And this ties into what I do on my end where I work. I'm a psychiatric mental health nurse. And typically, on the balance of probability, when I'm seeing young individuals, male or female, mostly male, when they're in a psych facility, chances being it's a relationship problem, or it's a relationship problem in terms of a recent breakup, or it's a relationship problem in terms of they ain't getting no play. I'm keeping my words nice and simple. They either not getting butt, or they lost the access to getting butt. One or the other, right? And when you got one or the other, that's a recipe for you gonna end up in a psychiatric facility.
You think I'm playing?
That feelings of self-worth and identity are strongly associated with sex. He goes on, explaining that social pressure may come into play with this. He also notes that often, sex therapists and marriage counselors agree that couples that engage in regular sex with each other have far greater self-esteem than those who don't. Everyone's scenario is different. For some, sex isn't a priority and might not affect their self-esteem as much as others. But for others, sex can't help but make you feel good both in mind and body in more ways than one. Number 3,
Makes sense.
frequent sex may help heart health. According to a study published in the Journal
right?
of Epidemiology and Community
I'm
Health,
assuming cardio.
frequent sex may decrease a male's risk for fatal heart attack. Results from the research study revealed that males who had sex 2 times or more a week had a lesser chance of a fatal heart attack than those who had sex not quite as much.
Okay.
The study noted additional findings on strokes and their connections to frequent sex, stating, middle-aged men should be heartened to know that frequent sexual intercourse is not likely to result in a substantial increase in the risk of strokes, and that some protection from fatal coronary events
What
may
kind
be
of
an
stroke they
added
talking
bonus.
about?
Number 4, it can alter your pain perception. Sex can alter your pain perception?
What you talking about, Willis?
Yep. And it's all thanks to a part of our brain called the hypothalamus. According to some research, sex may alter your pain perception, making you feel less pain. The section of the brain called the hypothalamus releases the feel-good hormone oxytocin, also known as the love hormone,
Yeah,
during
sure.
orgasm or arousal. Researchers at Rutgers University found that this release of oxytocin may help women feel less pain. This can be especially true during menstruation. Another study published in the Bulletin of Experimental Biology and Medicine found that
I'm
extremely low doses
learning.
of oxytocin reduce pain sensitivity in men.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Hold on. Let's run that back. We learning some new stuff here.
Biology and Medicine found that extremely low doses of oxytocin reduce pain sensitivity in men.
Low doses of oxytocin reduces lower pain threshold in men with low doses of oxytocin. Okay. Lower pain thresholds. So that means we would want oxytocin to not be released. But that doesn't really happen with men. Women release more oxytocin. They release oxytocin when it comes to a conversation, when it comes to sex, you name it. That's not the case for us.
Lowering one's pain threshold by 56.5%. Number 5, sex can take work for long-term partners. There's a popular belief among many young people that sexual satisfaction can diminish with time in long-term relationships. But it actually just takes a bit of work. Recent research from the University of Toronto recognized that effort is required if you want to have a great sex life with your long-term partner. So don't
Effort, huh? But these rich people out here ain't putting no I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't saying nothing, man.
Or stop it!
expect it to be wonderful every time if you don't put in some work every now and then. A healthy relationship with communication and effort can equal a healthy and happy sex life. And number 6, sex before an important event may lower your level of stress. Looks like sex may just help your grades on your university final exams. A 2006 research study published in the journal Biological Psychology had subjects take part in stressful activities.
It's interesting. It's funny because you know how there's people that don't like to mix business with pleasure, right? And so if they're going in for a business ordeal, a performance, a fight, right? Especially a fight, one of the things that's very big with some of these people is they don't have sex the night before the big event, the big fight, the big game, right? They do it afterwards, right? However, I think the reason, if I had to explain the reasoning behind why that is a thing and why people choose to do it, I think it's because maybe a person thinks that the art of having sex or the act of having sex, there's a release of testosterone, right? That like there's a release of that. You're losing something. And so maybe going into the actual fight or going into the actual game, what you would need, that testosterone, right, to kind of push through, to fight through, right? It ain't really there because you depleted it on a night of fun or having some fun right before the event. But what this is saying is that's not true. In fact, you may be less stressed and less worried going into the actual event, which will allow you to perform even better. So let's listen.
These included giving a public speech or taking a difficult math quiz. Subjects who had sex before the test had lower blood pressure and lower levels of stress. This was then compared to those who had no sex, those who masturbated, and those who had sexual contact without intercourse. The study even claims that penile vaginal intercourse, PVI, but not other sexual behavior, is associated with better psychological and physiological function. You may just have to thank not only yourself, but your partner as well for that A+ on your math exam.
That's cap.
Which of these were you most surprised to hear about?
All me. It's all me. It doesn't really matter. It's all me at the end of the day, right? I'm pretty selfish anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Oh! I get an A, I did that. We ain't gonna get into anything deeper. Gonna keep it nice and simple, buddy. Alright, so that's pretty much it for that video. That pretty much concludes that. Honestly, I thought the video was actually pretty interesting, you know? Perfect. And the reason why I like reacting to Psych to Go, because myself, I am involved in affiliated with mental health. What you see behind me is literally 15 different posters pertaining to mental health. So it goes to show just how deeply connected mental health is for me personally. So when it comes to the understanding of how sex affects mental health, it just goes to show that mental health is something that's always going to be there. Mental illness is something that majority of people, well, not to say majority, a lot of people are going to struggle with. And if we are living in a community or living in a society where a lot of men are not pleasing to majority of women, is not sexually arousing to majority of women, what's going to happen is it's going to be the continuation of these men being ostracized by majority of women. So what the men can do simply is just improve and get better, right? But it's always going to be a situation where there are going to be people left out. Even though there's more women than men, still majority of women are going to find majority men unattractive. So it's still going to be the situation where there's going to be some sexless, virgins, incel kind of community, and it's an issue. But the thing is, we can't harp on that necessarily. The things that we can do is get better as individuals. The best of me serving the best of you, right? Because if we just leave our mind just focus on the fact that we're not getting sex, or we've been withheld from sex, or to the point where someone is trying to make us pay for it, then we're focused on the wrong thing. When you are working on yourself and putting the work in and your effort, you're putting your money, energy, attention, time towards yourself, what's going to happen in return is the labor that you're putting in, the efforts that you're putting in is going to pay off, because people are going to see it. Men and women, they're going to see it. And when they do, they're going to become attracted towards you, right? Whether it be for a relationship purpose, for building a friendship, or it be for a relationship purpose, for actually a romantic relationship. And so you should focus on that versus the fact that what's currently not happening to you, right? Maybe it shouldn't happen to you. Maybe you're worried about, man, no one's finding me attractive. Maybe you really literally are not attractive. And that's fine. you should take a deep dive and look at yourself and figure out what is something that I could do to work on myself to improve myself so this doesn't happen to me in the future. You want a family. Well, you got to be great. You got to build up yourself. You got to build up your character. You got to develop a value system in order for you to even become more attracted to others. In order for you to be attracted to others, you got to be attracted to yourself, for yourself. There are things that you yourself have to do in order for you to be attractive to other people. Simple as that. Oh! So that's pretty much it for the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Hit the bell to be notified. Until then, I look forward to talking to you guys later on another video. It's Jamal Haki. And that's it for the video, man. So peace out.
It's an act of God. I used to act a fool, but now I act in movies. Actually, I'm just making moves. We still making music. Tell you about my past to secure my future. I'm all in my bag. Flow like a computer. That's a humble brag.